All right, welcome to the Catalyst Way, where we have conversations around unleashing the power of purpose and meaning to fuel transformative change in yourself and for others. And we're going to take a different approach with this. I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about how we do the work, this life design, the Catalyst Way, life design catalyst work, and what spurs us on to do it? How do we approach it? The two different ways. Because how we do it, we actually do our workshops differently. So I thought it would be neat for people to understand the two different approaches that we take, especially when Ivor was talking about the groups that he wants to serve and the groups that I want to serve, and we can kind of talk about that. So I just want this to be an open discussion as to, you know, how we do what we do and why we do it. So
Sounds good.
you want to start us off or you want me to start?
Go for it. I'll chime in.
So for me, in 2026, I decided I'm going to take the Zig Ziglar approach. And if you don't know who he is, look him up. But he's a prominent speaker. He passed away a number of years ago. Um, but his premise is get great at something and then deliver that as much as you can. So I decided, I know that I want to work with people in higher education, preferably faculty and staff. And I always felt that I wanted to try to do something that was between an hour, hour and a half that could get to the root of people finding purpose and meaning based on the three pillars: know yourself, serve, family, find the right pond. And I do lots of different activities. I used to do the value tags and meaningful work statement. And then the end of the year, I came up with um, three activities. So it was the practical purpose activity, it was the catalyst contribution one-liner, and then it was aspiration identity. And what I've done is have people do those three activities and come up with the answers to those three activities and then show them how they could define the work, how to enhance their role on their campus. Because I'm specifically working in higher education. So how they can work in their role. But then I showed them how I used it as a post-retirement tool, saying, here's how I want to, what I want to do post-retirement. Um, and I did it the first time and got, great response. Did it a second time, did it as a keynote at AB Tech, Asheville Buncombe Technical Community College. And then I've done three more workshops since then. And I've been tweaking it, but the bottom line is I'm, I, these three things, I think, get at the root of why we're here on this planet. And then the fourth one, so in our conversations, when I show them how they can use AI to enhance their role, Ivor and I came up with a fourth pillar, which is give your growth away, which is really taking what you've learned about yourself and then helping others lift themselves up to higher levels that might even be higher than you. So that is the fourth pillar. So now imagine you can answer the four pillars or address the four pillars in an hour. And that's what I've been able to do. So tomorrow, which is March 11th, I'm actually giving a keynote and incorporating the four pillars as a way to do this keynote. So I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. Um, so, but I'm really concentrating on those three activities, and then the fourth one is, how can you uplift others, use and have AI help you do that. So that's kind of a really short synopsis of what I'm doing right now. And I mean, I do offer longer trainings, but this is the gist of what I want to do in 2026.
So I think for me, it's been my group has been a combination of athletes and churches, religious organizations, so to speak. And that's been along the same lines, similar to what you've been doing, where I've got, a few activities that are just foundational for me that I always go to. And I've set mine up where I will maybe ask a question on the front end of each particular pillar that we're discussing before we go through it. And it's pretty much the half a day or maybe even a full day workshop type scenario, but I'm looking for to do more of that because that's really the group or the groups that speak closely to my heart, that I resonate the most with, that I have a lot of impact and influence with because I interact with them a lot, primarily because of my church background and also from a coaching standpoint. So I'm looking to do more of that in this year because the pillars are extremely important, as we've discussed before. It's really making sure that people understand why they are here and what they're here to do, why God put them on this earth, answering those questions. That, as you said, we've got the fourth pillar now. So it's know yourself, serve profoundly, find your right pond, and then giving your growth away so that there's that extension of what you do. There's that stake in the ground, there's that flag in the ground. So now when you leave, that legacy piece, if you will, is in place. And I think that's really important as we discussed because most people do not know those four pillars. And they don't know that they don't know, right? They're searching, they're reaching, they're lost. And we do this work because we understand the importance of making sure that these questions are answered. And without you answering them, there is no way for you to live the successful life that you were put here to live.
So I'm gonna ask you this then. So you just did a workshop, a half day workshop for a church group,
Yes,
and most of them were older.
yes.
How did you, so what did you do that really got them connected? Because, I work with a much younger population typically. Most of the people that you worked with were in their 50s, 60s, 70s, I'm probably even a couple in their 80s.
Yes.
And yet, everyone in that room left that room like their heads were exploding.
So
So,
go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
It was them having the opportunity to connect with each other by telling their story and me just really serving as a facilitator, but them being allowed the space to share what many of them have not been able to do because we understand the church format is what it is. It's Sunday morning or it's a Wednesday evening, and you come and you sit and you listen and you get up and you leave. So there's a lot of monologue, but it's not a setting that allows dialogue. And all I do in the workshop is provide that space for dialogue, which is what makes it do what it needs to do and allows it to unfold the way that it does.
Yeah, yes. And you also did something different that you've never done before to enhance that dialogue. So the first thing you did when you addressed each of the pillars was ask a specific question about that particular pillar and then had them share at their tables.
Correct.
And that was the unique aspect that you brought. Well, that was one. The other part was how you could relate it to Bible scriptures. So, but to me, you attach the pillar to a scripture or two scriptures, but then you started each one with a question. And
Yes.
I can tell you with the question, like I had a guy, the table I was sitting at, one of the guys left the room because he said the question hit him so hard he had to leave because it just resonated with his soul so much he broke down. And to me, that's a unique aspect of how you deliver this. And you had never delivered it that way before.
I had not, right? So it's going through this process over time, right? And the more that you do it, the more you refine it and the deeper you go because you're really trying to understand not how well you can deliver a workshop, but what works for others. And you're really trying to find out what can I do to better serve you, right? So now the format changes because I do want to serve you better. And here are these pillars. So, what do I need to do to help you get a deeper understanding of these pillars? Right? I'm convinced most people, you look at pillar number one, most people do not know themselves. They don't. And they think they do, and they'll tell you they do, but they don't know themselves. And they certainly don't know themselves deeply, right? They don't. And if we use like the the buzzwords that everyone else uses, if I'm gonna say that's the pain point, then that's one of them that you don't know yourself, right? It's socially acceptable to not know yourself because our world is designed for you to be busy, and that's the norm, right? As long as you're busy and you're doing something and you're producing, then that's okay. So we're at this workshop in this church, and here are individuals who have been sitting in church for years who now face one question, and based off of that question, they discover, you know what? I don't know myself. I don't know the person I am. I only know the person who's been performing. And I've been performing for years because you can do that in church and get away with it. But now they're having to sit with this question and they realize I really don't know myself. And I certainly don't know myself deeply. And if I can't get this one worked out, then how do I even go any further? So that's, really watching them deal with, grappling with this question and having to answer it, not just sitting there and having to articulate on paper the answers, but now having to share across the table with someone else that this is what they came up with.
It was a form of storytelling. Each
Absolutely.
question. So imagine telling a story on how well or not well you know yourself.
Right.
Imagine telling a story on how well or you don't serve profoundly. Telling a story around how well or not well you're serving, you're in your right pond.
Correct.
So it was literally a storytelling activity at the start of each thing, which is why I think it resonated with so many people, young and old, because again, people don't get a chance to tell the story. People crave, especially I actually believe that older people crave telling their story because people almost blow them off and they
Right.
have so much to share.
Right.
And that's what we noticed there is all these people wanted to share. And now it's like, and for you, it was like a drug. Ooh, I want more of this. I
Well,
really like this. I want more of this.
to your point, when you talk about the the older population that was at the workshop, I think what's interesting about them is not only do they want to tell their story, but for them, they've they to me more readily reconcile themselves to a place where they understand I've had all the titles and I've had all the achievements. Like, and even after all of those achievements, that when you get there, you feel like you're supposed to have arrived. And they've done that and they still don't feel like they've arrived. They still feel like something is missing,
That's
something
right.
is off, right? And they're more readily in a place to just even share that more so than, your mid 30s or 40-year-olds who are still striving to feel as though, well, if I just get here, then I'm good. And here's an older adult who's looking at them saying, not so fast. Let's to have that story come up with them just walking their way through. You don't really know yourself. And I can see where you don't know yourself as you tell your story, because I am where you are now, I used to be years ago. And I'm recognizing it as you're telling your story. And just to see that back and forth taking place, all under the umbrella of them understanding that we are all here for a higher purpose. And ground zero is, do you even know who you are? Let's just start with that. Are you even the least bit curious about you?
And see, and I, as being fortunate, being in the back of the room watching all this happen, it was just such a joy for me. And of course, you've been to several of the workshops I've done, and you just see how it, like, literally you see the light bulbs click, click on, and all of a sudden it's like, it's easy to come up with the three statements. So your practical purpose statement, your catalyst contribution one liner, and then your aspirational identity. The wow comes is, now guess what? You can use AI to help design this plan to enhance what you're being called to do, the work you're being called to do. And when you show that, then you see the light bulb. It's like, whoa. Because most people, I would say, they don't use AI in the right way. And you can use AI as a tool to enhance your life. So when I first started using it and I came up with my statements and I said, Please help me create a plan on what I could be doing post retirement." And it said, well, here are some part-time jobs, here are some gigs you can do, these, and now I've enhanced it, here are some book titles you can write, and here's some blog articles, here's some internships and volunteer experiences, and some workshops and programs. And now it opens up this whole new world for people, especially for those who are kind of at this crossroads. So it could be emerging professionals who have been in a job for 5 years and it's like, what do I do next? Or, your mid 40s and you have the midlife crisis and you're like, I don't know what to do next, or early retiree, or even a high school student or a college student trying to decide, what do I do next? Any of them can take this little hour thing and literally develop a plan, design a plan for how I want to do the work I'm being called to do.
And
And,
design it from a different place, because now they're allowed to really live this from the inside out,
right,
versus, before the workshop started, before they even came to being introduced to the work, everything was so focused on the outside in, right? It's all about the the accolades and the achievements and the accumulation of stuff. And it's all of those things that society says make me look and feel important. I'm going somewhere, I'm doing something. It's all outside in. And now they're being invited to, through all of these statements, take a look at where they can go with this tool, AI, because that's what AI is. There's another tool that they get to use. And now they can use this tool to really see how living from the inside out is really the way to go, because now they've examined the foundation, right? They've interrogated themselves, they've looked at their life, and now it's wow, I can do these things. Yes, because now it's you looking at this from the inside out versus everyone else told me I'd be good at this. Maybe I should give this a try. Maybe I should do that. And it's not so much that AI is telling you what you should do as much as it is AI is only answering you based on the prompts you gave it.
Mhm. So, and by the way, if you're curious, we love what we're doing.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So, is there anything you want to add before we just finish for today?
Just that we do know and understand the importance of helping everyone get to where they know that they should go through this process. It matters, right? And if you can know yourself deeply, if you can serve profoundly with clarity, if you can find the right pond because you are in the right environment and you can give your growth away, there is no way that you go through those 4 stages and your life not be transformed. Absolutely impossible. Like, there's no way. So that's why this thing has to be addressed, why you want to do this, why you want to be a part of this, because it will get you unstuck. If you're stuck, it will give you clarity. If you don't have it, you will understand purpose. If you go through it, it will answer the why questions.
So, if you're a church and you're looking for an awesome speaker, half day, full day, you got to contact Ivor. We'll leave his contact information in the chat box. If you're an athlete or you work with athletes, want to take it to another level, again, check with Ivor. If you're in higher ed, let me help. I'd be more than happy to do an hour to 675-minute session and get you started on this journey. So, we're here to help. We're here to serve, and we love what we do. So thank you all for joining us. And again, well, I'll leave the contact information. So if you have any thoughts, you can easily contact us. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Bye for now.
Bye.